We will be recording today. So if you'd like to, turn on or turn off your camera, that's up to you. And of course, you can always join in with your mic later during answering question as well. I'll be your host today. As I said, I'm currently serving as one of the directors of the Brock and Mark Scholarship Fund Limited, which is we will get into the introduction of the other presenters. I'm sure you would all agree that it has been a challenging few years with the pandemic and also with all the current social distancing measures in place in Hong Kong. I guess the idea came of this event came about because we saw a need in the community to come together through events such as this one. It's more important than ever to address these changes in all of our lives together and show support to each other. What I would like to do now is to introduce the presenters today. Sorry, before I move on, I do want to also mention Mary Etz, who's also our social media relations and general admin at FallinStars. Yeah. Just one thing for our Q&A sessions, we will take questions to the chat box, and if you'd like to speak, please raise your hand through Zoom and we can unmute you. FallinStars, Brock and Mark Scholarship Fund Limited is a website and organization that's promoting mental health initiatives in Hong Kong using resources such as music, art, exercise, education, and themed apparel to help the community acknowledge and manage their mental wellness needs. The Brock and Mark Scholarship Fund Limited is an NGO that will help to provide educational funds to students entering post-secondary education. We're also here with our first speaker here will be Barry Beck, former NHL player, having played many years for the Colorado Rockies, New York Rangers, and Los Angeles Kings. He is the founder of FallinStars, the Brock and Mark Scholarship Fund Limited, and the Brock and Mark online store. Barry has dedicated his entire life to ice hockey and now feels it is his mission to raise awareness for mental health in creative ways. Barry will be sharing his story through traversing trauma, followed by a short Q&A. Joint Dynamics is a medical provider, a wide variety of services, including physiotherapy, sports psychology, nutrition, and even sleep consultation. That's something I need. I barely ever sleep. Andrew Cox, who's our second presenter today, he's a personal trainer with a wealth of experience. He applies his knowledge by training his clients and his trainers here in Hong Kong and abroad. Andrew will bring us along a movement flow called Loosen Up. Looking forward to that. Tense right now. Body Banter is a Hong Kong-based nonprofit organization that empowers people to find their voices in conversations about body image and mental health. They offer workshops, talks, and internships. Stephanie Ng founded Body Banter in 2016 after realizing the powerful role that discussion and advocacy played in her own eating disorder recovery journey. Through providing opportunities for community building, advocacy, and open discussion, she hopes that Body Banter can amplify the voices of individuals and empower them to be the driving forces behind creating a more accepting and accommodating world. An avid mental health advocate, she is energized by her research in the areas of body image and eating disorders in Chinese context, and her role as the host of 2 podcasts exploring new ways of understanding mental health. Stephanie will be running a workshop called Revealing Our Feelings. Adi Liu, yes, has worked in the professional field for over 20 years in Hong Kong. During this period, she experienced a thyroid disorder several times and frequently often other common illnesses, and short-tempered due to her work stress and lack of rest. This led to her start to explore ways to improve her well-being. And in 2016, she started her first mindfulness experience with the Plum Village in Hong Kong, and her body health had noticeably improved since. From this experience, Ada has realized how mental condition can affect our physical health. She agreed with Barry that there is no room for delay to raise awareness of mental health in Hong Kong. She is delighted by Barry's invitation to be a member of the Brock and Mark Scholarship Fund Limited. And she will be running a workshop on mindfulness practice. So it will be called Embracing Emotions. So without further delay, we shall begin with Barry Beck. So let's please give him a warm welcome. Barry, pass it on to you.
Thank you, Mike. I think you got that all memorized pretty good. So it's nice to be here today. And I get a chance to talk about traversing trauma. So I a little bit about what's happened to me over the past couple of years and while the pandemic was on. So it's been a rough couple of years with the murder of my only child, Brock, and subsequently after that, the suicide of my good friend and ex-teammate, Mark Pavlich. So I've been through a lot of trauma. I'm not by no means an expert on it, but I do know that once you lose everything, that you got to continue on and continue, as I say, to climb the mountain. So in this case, it's traversing trauma. Sometimes you can't climb all the time, so you struggle every day. It's just that you have to struggle in a good way and keep your emotions in check, because they're there every day and you're reminded about it every day. So for me, I view it as an opportunity, and especially in writing. And for me, I think a lot of natural things will be able to help you through trauma as you traverse, as an exercise and your diet, and especially nature. So these things are all natural that can help you recover. So for me, I'm still in the recovery process. Talking about it is one way that makes me feel better. So I hope that others can follow that path of being able to talk to it with your friends, and those are close relationships that you have, and will make them even closer to you, and will help you. So you can't always go up. You're trying to go up and you're struggling to go up, then sometimes you got to go take a step sideways and let things happen and don't force them so much. But it's keeping your emotions in check, dealing with them every day. And like I said, I use it as an opportunity. You're not going to get it too many times in life. So I look at the positive side of it. I get a chance now to help people and help others. And while I'm doing that, I'm helping myself. And I think that's the path to follow for me. And that's my journey. So thank you for letting me share that. And I'll be happy to answer any questions that anybody has for me, including from my own group.
We'll open up the floor for any questions. If anyone has any questions, raise your hand, unmute, and let you ask if you'd like. I actually do have a question myself. When you go through the trauma of something so serious, so sad, how do you go about reaching out to somebody? That's also hard too. How do you know who you can go and talk to about this? Do you just kind of just go to my friends, or is there like a thought process? Like maybe they, how do you feel about them feeling about you being in this situation?
Well, when I used to go to the hockey rink, some of the parents, I would like to tell them some hockey stories, and then they got used to me telling too many stories. So then when I would come to them, they would run away. So it's when you feel the need to talk to somebody, then you have to know that it's okay. It's okay to reach out to your friends and say, hey, I'm not feeling very good today. Can we talk? And it's up to your friends also to reach out to you and to say, hey, how you doing today? Are things okay? Doesn't have to be every day, but communication is a big part of it. And for me, like you said, I mean, getting hit with a sledgehammer twice. So you got to pick yourself up and look for the opportunities to help yourself and help others. So reaching out, you got to know it's okay to be able to do that. And that's why close relationships are very important as you go through trauma, as you're traversing trauma.
Right. Thank you, Barry. Any more questions?
You're welcome.
Yeah, and in line with that, Barry, I'm wondering what your suggestions would be for someone who is hoping to support a person who has experienced trauma. So what would you say to a friend or a family member?
Well, just pretty well what you said, Steph, was really support is the biggest thing, is that just letting them know, hey, I'm here to support you. And when you're not feeling good, you can talk to me, and you can try and use those assets, as I mentioned in the beginning, nature, and asking your friend if they want to go out for some exercise or a walk, or even if it's just a conversation. I think it's the reaching out part. People get so busy with their own lives that I think they forget about the small little important things and the details, which makes life fun and exciting to be a part of. And so relationships is a big part of that. So supporting somebody who is going through some type of trauma, and everybody has a story. So mine is maybe a little bit different from somebody else's, but support, I think, is the biggest thing.
Would it be okay if I add to that question? Could I extend on that question for a second? So I think one of the apprehensions I would have if a friend, just say if you reached out to me, Barry, my apprehension would be, oh my goodness, Barry's been through something that's been incredibly traumatic for him. I'm scared I'm going to say the wrong things. That would genuinely be an apprehension I would bring to a conversation where my role would be to support you, but I would have this apprehension that I think, oh my goodness, I don't know psychology to the depth of Stephanie, for example, and what if I say the wrong thing? And is there any suggestions that you would have, like, or would you share an experience that you had on both sides of the coin if you've had them?
Yeah, thanks, Andrew, for that, because you're reminded by it every day in my case. So I could hear my son's name or Mark's name or just their first name. So they talk about the trigger words. For me, through it every day. So there is no trigger word for me. It's part of my life, and it happened. And through that experience, as traumatic as it is, I get to help other people. So I think that's the most important part, is now I get a chance to serve. And so that's what I'm going to do. So I wouldn't be too worried about what you would say to somebody. I know you want to keep it positive, and upbeat like I am. So I think that's the most important part, is just that you're having the conversation, and then that person will understand that, hey, it's okay. It's okay if you don't say the right thing, think you're saying the right thing. Just the point of you're having the conversation and reaching out makes it very important to that person.
Great. Thank you.
Welcome.
Do you have any more questions or any other comments?
I think Debbie might have a question.
Oh, great. I see she's raised her hand. Great. Let's I'm not very technical with this stuff, so I better figure out how to unmute here. Oh, I can't do it. You'll have to do it, Stephanie. I think I can't unmute her.
Okay, Debbie, are you able to see a button?
Yeah, I can hear. Yeah, I hear you. Hi, B.
Hi, Hawk. How you doing?
I'm okay. I've had a lot of loss also in the past year, including my mother, my best friend of 45 years. Somebody very close to me also committed suicide, and I found out about an hour and a half ago that the woman that's been doing my taxes for the past 20 years, who I work with, passed away today. So it's been a rough year for me, and I actually really found out who my real friends are. The people that would listen or just take the time, knowing that I was going through such a rough time, to ask me, how are you doing, Hawk? And I didn't get that from a lot of them. And some of the closest friends that I have are the ones that are now gone. So I took it upon myself. I said, I've got to talk to somebody. So I got a therapist, and I talked to my therapist with no judgment. She just listens and helps me get through it. And I don't think anybody should be afraid of seeking out that kind of help.
Yeah, if I can comment on that, Hawk. First of all, sorry for your loss, but
Yeah.
I also think talking to a therapist is very good, and having them listen to you and react to you is something very good, because if you're losing, especially your close personal friends in your inner circle, then it may be a little bit harder to reach outside of that circle. So I'm certainly all for having a therapist and being able to talk to one. And
Yeah, I mean, but even the people even though the people that knew Janet's in my relationship, a lot of them didn't understand how close we were. I mean, I could tell Janet anything. We did everything together, and her husband too. He was part of it. We lost him almost 4 years ago, and I've been devastated by it. And my therapist just lets me talk for an hour and cry, just get it all out. I spoke to her on this past weekend, and for 45 minutes, all I did was cry, and I felt much better afterwards. Sometimes you just got to let that emotion get out of you.
yeah, I will certainly answer you again, and I agree, because I've done a lot of crying myself.
I know.
And but as I said, for me, I looked at it as my son and Mark giving me an opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, it was writing.
Right.
And so I've just finished writing a book with the help of Gene Pavlich.
It's finished.
And so I found that very therapeutic for me.
Mm-hmm.
But it was also very hard and exhausting going through that.
Mm-hmm.
But I think, you talking to a therapist, or anyone else for that matter, is certainly a very positive thing. And then you can do the other
and
things.
In COVID world, it's all done online, so it's done via
right. Right.
teletalking.
You gotta cry online now. not just by yourself. So
you wipe your tears with your stylus.
Yeah. So it's certainly emotional, and that's okay. I mean, that's part of being a human being. And I think that's the way that I can answer for me personally. As I said in the beginning, I'm not a doctor, but I am a friend. So I think that's very important, is that you're a good friend to your friends. And because what you've gone through, they're going to go through too.
Yeah, they don't realize it yet, but their time is coming.
So they're going to need you the way that you need them.
Mm-hmm.
So am I the doctor on the show, or?
Yes, you're Dr. Beck.
Oh.
It's Dr. Bubba.
If I can, just to say my son and his murder and him being gone, that he was studying mental health and recovery at University in Nova Scotia. And for him, he always told me that he wanted to be the next Dr. Phil. He said he could be better than Dr. Phil. So
he had too much hair.
that always put a smile on my face.
Yeah.
So, laughing. I can't say enough about laughing, about what a remedy that is. So, reaching out to your friends and having them reach out to you is so important, and engaging people. Don't be a recluse, and get out there and enjoy life. Talk to people and keep the good relationships close to you. Keep the toxic ones away from you. And nature is a healer. So I firmly believe in that. And laughing. So if you see laughing through the forest one day, he'll know that I'm doing pretty good.
Here he goes.
or else come and get me. One of the two.
Right. Well, all right then. Thank you very much for both of you for sharing again, and thanks, Barry, for that and the questions. Thank you. And
Welcome.
all right. Well, now we're gonna move on, and next up we have Andrew Cox with Loosen Up. Let's give him a welcome, and Andrew, please take it away.
Hi guys. Just to reiterate, so I'm one of the owners of Joint Dynamics, and the point that I'll touch on Joint Dynamics, it's a mix between clinical and movement personal training. So physical therapists, sociopaths, sports medicine, all that sort of stuff, and personal training. And there's a great information sharing between those two. It's a great knowledge bank. And the inspiration behind what we're going to do for 15 minutes, a power of 15 minutes, there's some inspiration from the clinical, understanding the immune system, the nervous system, but also just some things for movement to turn your brain on and get you to breathe and increase your energy to continue to listen to all this great information that's coming our way. So I'm just going to tip my camera a little bit and step back. And because the nature of the world we live in today, we spend a lot of time in our chairs. We're going to start in our chairs. So there's no excuse. There's no excuse no matter what day, what time there is. If you're sitting and you work from your chair, and we're going to do a brief movement session from our chair, and then we'll stand up as well. So first, what I want you guys to do is just bring your bum forward so you're at the front of your chair. And then if you look down to your feet, you'll see that your feet are a little bit wider than your hips and facing straight ahead. Now, what I want you to take your hands and just relax them into your legs like that. Your palms are facing up. And now the next thing to do, just to understand the integrated nature of the body, just push your feet into the ground and notice how that extends your spine. And then relax your body and let your body slouch beyond the computer posture that maybe you're in before. Let's do it 2 more times. Push your both feet. You're not going to stand up, but push your feet into the ground and even pull them back. And notice how that extends your spine. So like you're in the military, you become the military posture. And then relax and collapse your spine down. One more time. Now come back to that tall posture, and we're going to add a reach. So I'm going to be your mirror. So this is my right hand, but you're going to move your left hand. So with that long military posture, take your left hand and rotate back over the top of the chair. Put your right hand on the opposite knee. Your right hand goes on the left knee. And now reach that hand up to the ceiling. Hang out there. So you're rotated, your spine is rotated to the left, and you're reaching up as high as you can. Now take that left hand and wave it around like you're in the ocean. You're trying to get someone's attention. Reach over to your right and then come all the way back. Leveraging off that knee. Remember, you're pulling off that knee to rotate you that way. Reach that hand up and reach over. One more time. Reach up as high as you can and reach over and relax back to that. Let's do the other side. Take your left hand, place it on the right knee. Your right palm to the ceiling, rotate around. Everybody can rotate around to the right. If you can't lift your hand up, that's fine, but you can always rotate your spine around to the right. Reach the hand up as high as you can. If you can't get it above your shoulder, that's fine, but at least rotate around. And now if you can reach that hand up and reach over to the right like you're waving your arm. And that just changes the way the spine and the ribs move. Don't forget to keep pulling off that. One more time. And relax. Good job. Just to open up the spine. Next thing we're going to do, we're going to take our hands, staying in our chair, and we're going to fold the first 2 knuckles. We're not making a fist. We're not going to get Barry on the ice hockey and start a blue again. What we're going to do is just going to bend the first 2 knuckles, and then we're going to call that the golfer's grip, and we're going to place that on our temples. So we're going to use those. It's like a hinge on our temple. What we're going to do from there is we're going to touch the elbows in front. And then what you're going to do, you're going to try to touch your elbows behind your head. You're not going to, but imagine when we touch the elbows in front, that's 12 o'clock. Use the muscles behind the arms, the shoulders, and the back of the spine to try to get your elbows to 6 o'clock. Mine are maybe at 3 and 9, a little bit more. Breathe out and touch in front. Let's do 12 of these. Deep breath in. You should be at least 3 and 6 o'clock, and then breathe out, come back to 12. Breathe in, activate all those muscles on the back of your shoulder. Breathe out. Go a little bit faster now. Breathe in as much as you can. Breathe out, touch your elbows in front. Breathe in. Breathe out. 4 to go, team. Breathe in. Breathe out. 3 more. 2 to go. Deepest breath in. Breathe out. Last one. And relax. Now let's do some more movement through the immune system. The architecture of the immune system is very prevalent around the neck and the shoulders and the hips. We're going to move the neck and the shoulders in particular to help the immune system and also help to mobilize the shoulders and spine, and also to bring some blood flow. So what we're going to do this time, if my nose is at 12 o'clock or our nose is at 12 o'clock, we're going to raise our arms out to 3 and 9 o'clock. So 90 degrees there. Then what we're going to do, you're going to take your left arm and you're going to rotate it down and in like that. So we're going to call that internal rotation of your left shoulder. And then you do the opposite with your right shoulder, you rotate it up and out. So one arm is rotating down and in, the other arm is rotating up and out. Stop there. Now, everybody turn your eyes and look to the left arm. And now turn your eyes and look to the right arm, but switch the arms. Notice how I rotated my right arm in and my left arm out. We're going to walk and chew gum. We're doing 2 things at once. And then keep going. We're switching the arms and switching the eyes. And we're always looking at this stage to the inwardly rotated arm. So rotate the right arm down, look to the right. Rotate the left arm down, look to the left. And keep going there. That's 5. We're going to do 10. And then all we do is we keep the arms doing the same thing, but we're going to look to the up arm. Get as much movement around your shoulders, elbows, and wrists as you can. Let's do 2 more like that. 1 more like that. And then stop. Everybody's looking to the left arm, the inwardly rotated arm. Keep your arms the same. Turn your eyes and look to the right arm, which is now the palm that's facing the ceiling. Still in our chair. And now switch. Turn the arms and turn the eyes. Now the left palm is facing the ceiling, and that's the arm that we're looking to. We're going to repeat that 10 times again. And let's go. Look right, look left, and rotate the shoulders concurrently as you're doing that. And hopefully now, if we really try hard, we might even start to experience some fatigue, which would be a gift, especially to this part of our body, the shoulders. So keep moving. We do 5 more. 1, 2. Try to get more range around those shoulders and keep your spine really long. And there should be no stress in the neck, but hopefully we're getting a bit of fatigue in the shoulders. 2 more. You're probably saying Andrew's counting is off, but that's fine. 1 to go. And relax there, shake it out. Now, I'm assuming we all have enough space to stand up. So I'm just going to slide my chair back, even if you spin 90 degrees. But we're going to stand up, and then what we're going to do, we're going to step like a medium range lunge. Step your right leg forward. So your right leg's forward, your left leg is back. Okay, and then before we do anything with our upper body, which is what we're going to do, we're going to look down to our feet and see that our nose is facing 12 o'clock. Our right foot is also facing 12 o'clock, and the back foot, the heel is off the ground, but even though the heel is off the ground in a split squat, it's also facing to 12 o'clock. So our feet are parallel, hip width apart, and we're pretty stable there in that position. Now, let's take that right leg forward and take that right hand and make the palm. Speaking of nature, there's the palm. Make the palm face the ceiling, please. And we're going to rotate everything around your upper body, everything around to your right. And we're just going to hold there. Now we're going to do a mid-range split squat. That means that we're just going to bend our knees and drop the hips down and then stand up and bring your arms back to 12 o'clock. So you choose your range. Maybe you might go 5 centimeters, maybe you might go 10 centimeters. Stephanie, doing yoga, she's probably tapping that knee to the ground, which is great for her. So you're ready. Right leg forward, right palm to the ceiling. Rotate your upper body around to the right and tap that left knee on the ground or drop it as low as you can. Come back to the start. 1. 8's a lucky number in Hong Kong, so we're going to go for that. Come back down. 2. Come around. 3. Should start to feel a nice stretch in the front of that left hip, which is getting you out of the chair, which is what you should do regularly as we continue to squat each day. We're spending a lot of time in the chair. 2 more, and then we'll just do the other side. 1 more. Palm to the ceiling, drop down, come back. Simply switch your feet. Nose is at 12 o'clock, got it, which is facing you. Left foot is forward, also facing 12 o'clock. I'm going to look back to my right foot, the heel's off the ground, but the foot is still straight, facing to 12 o'clock. Left palm to the ceiling. We need some length in the front of this right hip because we've been sitting down in this posture, and we want to be able to get into that posture. So let's go. You ready? 8's our number. Drop to your depth. And you can, over 8 reps, you can get more and more depth into this exercise, stretch, but just listen to your own body. Left palm to the ceiling, rotate around, and then come back to 12 o'clock with everything. Rotate your left arm back, trying to get that arm to 6 o'clock, actually, and then come back, that's 2. Palm to the ceiling, rotate around. 3, feels great to the hips. Go again. 4 to go, team. 5, rotate around. 6, 7, last one, and 8. Come back to center. Shake it out a little bit here. And now the way that we're going to finish, we're just going to finish with a breathing exercise. So there's 3 rules to our breathing exercise. The first rule is we're going to only breathe through our nose. The second rule is we're going to imagine we're breathing into our belly. So as you breathe in, your belly distends, it gets a little bit bigger. And then as you breathe out, the exhalation is longer than the inhalation. They're the 3 rules. Breathing only through our nose, got it. When I breathe in, my belly gets bigger, so I'm breathing into my belly. And then the third rule is the exhalation is longer than the inhalation. This type of breathing, diaphragmatic breathing, is excellent for getting, why do we breathe? We take oxygen from out here and other things, attach it to blood in the lungs, and then that goes to the brain and all your body and your muscles, your organs, your brain is acutely dependent upon blood flow and the oxygen and nutrients and also hormones that it brings. Often when we sit like that, we don't get enough. That inhibits the way that I breathe, which means it might lend itself to me being a little bit lethargic. Oh my goodness, not only am I not moving and pumping blood around the body, but I'm not breathing properly, and the brain takes at least 20% of the oxygen that you're breathing. So this is our antidote to feeling a little bit of lethargy. We just moved for 10 minutes, and now we're just going to breathe for a couple of minutes. So let's go back to our position on the chair. We're going to sit forward on the chair. We're going to place our feet on the ground, and just do that practice again. Push your feet into the ground and notice how your spine lifts up and you have a long spine there. Take the hands again, place them in the palms. Just find a relaxed spot. We don't want any tension in the neck and also no tension in the forehead. When I say in 3 seconds, we're going to breathe out through our mouth like that. And then we're going to switch to nasal breathing with an inhalation for 4 seconds and an exhalation for 6 seconds, silently. Ready? 3, 2, 1, breathe out. Now switch to breathing only through your nose. Let's breathe in for 4, 3, 2, 1. A long silent breath out for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Close your eyes. We're going to do the same thing for the next 2 minutes. Deep breath in for 4. Keep your spine long. Breathe out for 6. Just take your left hand, place it on your belly. Take a deep breath in for 4. Feel your tummy push into the hand. And then a long silent breath out for 6. Feel the tummy collapse away from the hand. Just go a little deeper with that breath. Deep breath in for 4. Long breath out for 6. Stay with your breath. We're going to do 5 rounds and then we're done. Deep breath in for 4. Long silent breath out for 6. Four more rounds, guys. Breathe in. And breathe out. 3 more rounds in silence. Deep breath in. Long breath out. 2 more. Breathe in. Breathe out. Last one. Deep breath in for 4 seconds. Long breath out for 6. Open your eyes. You probably want to give someone a hug. Interlace your fingers and then reach up all the way to the ceiling or reach all the way back. Just open up there. And then we do 3 squats and then I'm handing it over. So bring your feet. Everybody stand all the way up. Reach up to the ceiling. I'll step back a little bit. Make sure your chair doesn't slide away so you don't fall over. It's happened before. Sit back onto your chair. Everybody stand up, reach up to the ceiling. Sit back into the chair. Reach up to the ceiling. Sit back into the chair. If you feel like it, throw out a couple of movements and enjoy the rest of the morning. Thank you for letting me hang out with you guys.
Thank you, Andrew. That was very invigorating. I'm feeling energized.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
All right. Wow, that was I hope everybody's feeling good after that one. I feel so stretched out, ready to go. I'm really loosened up now. Okay. Now we're going to move on. Thank you so much again, Andrew, for that one. And we're going to move on now to Stephanie. Stephanie, let's give her a hand for sharing some of her next talk here. Great.
Thank you, Michael. And thank you, Andrew, for that wonderful movement, energizing movement. I'm feeling really good now. And so I'll share my slides and I'll check with everyone that you can see. Okay, give me a second. Here we go. Can everyone see my slides? Yeah? Okay.
Yes. Yep.
Alrighty, so welcome everyone to the Revealing Our Feelings workshop. And as this screen suggests, it's kind of like pulling back the layers of and you know, putting your emotions in the spotlight. Just thinking about how we can start to reveal those internal landscapes more clearly and effectively in our daily lives. So before we get properly started with today's presentation, I'd like to just throw a question out to all of you. How often, or have you ever experienced physical symptoms that are linked to your emotional states? So for example, like having butterflies in your stomach, or, you know, when you have a headache, sometimes when you feel really stressed, or you're feeling really anxious, or sometimes you might feel that you need to pee when you're really nervous, or really anxious. I'm just wondering whether you all could give me a show of hands as to whether you've experienced physical symptoms that are linked to your emotional states. And you can drop it in the chat as well if you have. Yeah, I see nods. For sure. So definitely, I think these are experiences that most of us have had. And it's just a really good example, just a really easy way to start to notice the ways that our minds and our bodies are just very intricately linked. Okay. So today, as a recap or an overview of what we'll be talking about, first we'll be going through how our minds and our bodies are linked through, for example, affecting the levels of tension in our muscles, our breathing patterns, and our hormonal levels. The second, prolonged emotional suppression can not only affect our mental, but also our physical health. And then finally, we'll be looking at how identifying, sharing, and processing our emotions through various psychological and physical practices can support us in a very holistic way, and also affect our ability to connect and empathize with others as well. So being able to express our emotions is not only good for us, but it's also good for our interpersonal relationships and how we interact with other people. Okay, so moving right along, let's talk a little bit about the mind-body connection, and more specifically, how our emotions can lead to changes in our physiology. So as we were talking about earlier, at these emotional centers and also our minds and our bodies are very, very closely connected. And there are these emotional centers, kind of like pods in our brains that are connected with important segments of our bodies. So that includes large voluntary muscles, things that we can consciously tense. So like, when we shrug our shoulders and we feel like there's a lot of tension housed in those sections of our bodies, but also our involuntary muscles, things like our heart and our digestive system. So I'm going to take the example of anxiety. Ooh, I see someone who's entered I think, let me see who this is. Sorry, I just saw a notification that someone joined the Zoom room, but I can't see. Oh, I'll admit. Okay, awesome. There we go. Welcome to whoever just joined us. But yeah, let me continue and go on to the example of mentioning earlier. Emotions can cause us to generate tension in our voluntary muscles. So that means that we can experience a lot of tension, let's say in our shoulders. We might experience headaches, we might have muscle soreness, and we might have cramps. And this is typically the kind of sensation that you probably are familiar with when it comes to anxiety, because these are the things that you might consciously notice when you're experiencing an emotion like that. So for me, that means that I will suddenly feel that my shoulders are really rising up to my ears, which is why movement patterns like what Andrew had just taught us, to move a little bit throughout the day, can bring some awareness to how we are able, how these voluntary muscles are tensing and how we can actually relieve that tension by just thinking about, like being aware that it is that these voluntary muscles are tensing. And then we also can look at the level of involuntary muscles, such as we were mentioning earlier, our gastrointestinal or digestive system and our heart. And so as you can imagine, when these muscles are constantly tensing, and again, you might be able to link it back to what we were talking about earlier with feeling those butterflies in your stomach, that would be representative of tensing of our involuntary muscles inside our digestive systems, is like experiencing hypertension or digestive dysregulation. So maybe diarrhea or constipation. And besides the tension in voluntary and involuntary muscles, we might start to experience some cognitive effects as well. And what this is also probably something that you've experienced. You might have found it really hard to focus. You might have found that you feel a little bit dizzy, or you might even have experiences of finding it difficult to focus on what you're saying or talk when you're experiencing anxiety. Like think about stage fright, right? And so this is another consequence of experiencing anxiety. And finally, we look at the last bit of, and obviously this is an oversimplification of what could happen, but we are going through it quite briefly today. You might also experience hormonal shifts in response to anxiety and the feeling of anxiety. So as you might have heard of the stress hormone cortisol, this cortisol hormone is responsible for regulating our metabolism. It's responsible for regulating our blood sugar levels, our memory, and levels of inflammation. So just to note that cortisol itself is not a problem, and it is actually important to have levels of cortisol in your body. But either too little or too much cortisol in your body can lead to harmful physiological consequences. So for example, when you have too little cortisol, you might experience low blood pressure, appetite dysregulations, and tiredness. And when you're experiencing too much cortisol, irritability, high blood pressure, and headaches. So this is just a kind of an example using anxiety as a way in which our emotions can influence us at the level of physiology as well. And then now just going on to the next topic that we were discussing today, which is how prolonged emotional suppression can affect our health. And I think a lot of us in this current time, we're constantly taught, and especially in our culture, I think, it's commonly taught to us that emotions need to be controlled and suppressed and managed, when in fact, the emergence of emotion or the experience of emotion is frequently just not under our conscious control. And I like to use an analogy to talk about this, which is like pushing a pool ball underwater. And what studies do suggest is that when we try to suppress our emotions, we are basically trying to push, in a very futile way, trying to push things underwater that will inevitably come back up. And there is this rebound effect. When it comes back stronger. And of course, I think we can appreciate that needing to control our emotions. But what I'm trying to say here and emphasize is that suppressing our emotions in the long term is harmful for both our physical and our mental health states. And also to emphasize that emotions are our mind and our body's ways of communicating something. It's like giving us a message. It's sending us a WhatsApp, an internal WhatsApp. So it's important to respond and to listen to them instead of trying to continuously push them underwater. And another thing to notice about suppressing emotions and the consequences of that beyond the individual landscape is that it can also lead to interpersonal challenges because we are so preoccupied with trying to push this pool ball down. Imagine how much energy that is trying to do that day after day after day that we don't really feel like we can engage fully with other people in our external landscapes. And, we might be distracted, we might feel less engaged and connected with people in our lives. And that leads to even more stress because social support is such an important part of our mental health as well. So that's another way that, this can lead to other, just in terms of suppressing emotions beyond the personal state can also impact our interpersonal state. So what things can we do? Let's talk a little bit about action steps since we've already talked about some of the consequences and some of the background of why suppressing our emotions can be harmful. So the first thing to think about when trying to and learning to reveal our feelings is to learn to name your emotions. A lot of times having the words for it is already a really great first step. And so I like to think about it as when you look at clouds in the sky, I doubt that very many of us will try to explain why they're there, unless you're a scientist. And you would say, oh, like it's formed by condensation, or I don't even remember half of the things that I learned in high school geography. But I think it's important to try to look at feelings just like that. When you see an emotion pass by in your internal landscape, try to look at it without trying to change or justify or to explain why the feeling is there. Just name it and say, hey, I'm feeling sad today. I'm feeling anxious today, and let it be. Just let it be in our sky. And a really great tool for doing that is the feelings wheel, which I'm sure many of you have seen. And if you haven't, I highly recommend that you take a look at it. And the feelings wheel is great because it really portrays all of the different kinds of emotions in a very balanced and neutral way. There isn't a single emotion that looks like it's, all of these colors are beautiful and valid and important. And so what I love about this wheel is that it gives you lots of options and, allows you to look at, oh, if I'm feeling bad, does that mean mean I'm feeling bored or busy or stressed or tired. And it gives you more language to express what you've been experiencing. And also, there isn't a single, as I was saying earlier, there isn't a single, emotion that takes up more of this pie chart. So that's why I really, really enjoy. And I think this diagram or this tool is really great for revealing our feelings. Then there are ways to move your energy through different physical and psychological and breathing practices. So I'm really excited that today we were able to experience that with Andrew's movement practice and Adie's breathing practice and meditation and mindfulness practice that's coming up for us. Because I think that sometimes when we have feelings inside of us, it's hard to move those feelings or kind of look at those feelings at the cognitive level sometimes. Sometimes we do need to use or tap into our physical systems in order to experience and to process those emotions. So we can go from trying to understand what the emotion is by naming it. That's more of at the cognitive level. And we can also use physical practices to affect or to kind of understand and process our emotions as well. So just as our friend the sloth here, keep calm and explore different types of physical and psychological practices as well that work for you. And then finally, this is just a reminder that is also really helpful for me, honestly. Know that the process is meant to be messy. As you're learning to reveal your feelings and to process them, know that it's not a linear process. Sometimes you'll do many, many breathing exercises in a day. You'll have gone for a workout. You'll have tried to look at the emotions wheel, and you'll still find that it's very difficult to process those emotions. Things might still be coming up for you. There might still be tensing. And, this is an important part of the journey as well. We all have days where emotions are more overwhelming than others. It's just like this painting here. It's not a linear process, and every day is different. So I think that's an important message to send as well at the end of this of our time together. So yeah, hope you paint happily. Colors populate your palette. So with that, this is my my contact. This is my contact information, and you can reach out to me. And my hand is not green or as scary as this. Alrighty, I will close the share.
Thank you, Stephanie. Wow, that's very informative. I'm hoping everybody can have some information. Of course, this is being recorded, so at some point we will put it somewhere on our websites, and then people can access it. If you want to look at that feelings wheel, I'm sure Google will supply it to you if you type it into the Google search bar or Yahoo, whatever engine you use. Great. Thank you so much, Stephanie, for that. Now we're going to move on with a little bit of mindfulness practice with Adie. And this is something I've been looking forward to. So, Adie, please take it away.
Thank you, Mike, and thank you, Steph. Can you all hear me? Good. Yes. Okay, so now we are going to spend some time on mindfulness, and there are a few types of mindfulness practices. They are like sitting meditation, walking meditation, eating as well. So there are many types. But now today we are going to do sitting meditation, and this would be a guided meditation, and I would use a bell in between the session, and a bell just in case some people might think, oh, this is very Buddhism, etc., religious, but actually this is only a tool, an instrument. So just like when you go to church, there's a church bell, that's the same thing. So whenever you like, so that's the sound that helps you to come back to your body and be peaceful. So if you are going to sit on the floor, then you sit on the cushion, or if you are sitting on the chair, we only sit 1/3 of the surface. It is because when you sit on the whole cushion, then it's very difficult for you to balance, even on the chair. So if you sit on the cushion, we normally do cross leg, so we do a full lotus, or just cross one leg, half lotus, or even you just do open legs, that's fine as well. But just remember just 1/3 on the cushion, so that we have like a tripod that you can support your spine, and the two spots on the knees that support the front, so you don't fall along when you meditate longer. So likewise, when you are sitting on a chair as well, so make sure your feet are on the ground. But if the chair is too high for you, you put a cushion on the floor so you can touch the cushion. So whatever that works for you. So the instructions is I would first of all have a small bell sound. We call it invite the bell. It is also like a light sound for everybody to get prepared. And also in between the meditation, there would be a small sound as well, because one of the reasons is when you are in meditation, when somebody suddenly talk, it would frighten you, right? So if you have a small bell sound, that would help you to get ready and prepare for the next guidance. And so after the so first of all, I'll give like 3 bell sounds, and then we'll do breathing work, and then in between I will do guided meditation. Guidance. But if you don't hear from me anything, you just keep on breathing in, breathing out until you hear the next instruction. And then at the end, I would finish it with 2 bell sounds, and then I'll ask you to come back to the body, etc. So yeah, so let's begin with 3 bell sounds, and then you can gently close your eyes. So when you breathe in, you can feel your belly goes up, rising up. When breathing out, the belly go down. So it's the way how you breathe calmly. Okay, so everybody's ready. Breathing in. I know I'm breathing in. Breathing out. I know I'm breathing out. In, out. Breathing in, I'm aware of the emotions. Breathing out, I know emotions are one of my friends. In, emotions. Out, my friend. Breathing in, I know this friend needs attention. Breathing out, I say, how are you, my dear friend? In, attention. Out, how are you, my friend? Breathing in, I'm giving this friend a hug. Breathing out, I notice my friend has become more happy. In, a hug. Out, happier. Breathing in, I notice my heart is opening. Breathing out, I'm feeling warm and free. Breathing in, I thank you to my friend coming to visit me. Breathing out, I feel fresh and smile to my body. Thank you for coming, my friend. Fresh and smile to the body. Slowly returning the attention to your body. You can move your fingers, your toes, or move your body around, neck, or rub your hands. You put the warm hand on your face, feeling the warmth giving to your body. And give yourself a hug and say thank you to yourself. So the practice we just had was to let us know, and also our body know, that emotions is they are not a bad thing. We can embrace them and be with them, and just return the breath to our body, and we feel safe and refreshed. So thank you. Have a good day.
Wow. I'm feel pretty good. Feel pretty good now. I hope everybody is feeling good as well. Thank you, Adi. That was very peaceful. I haven't had that feeling in a while. I'm sure everyone's relaxed now. We hope that we're all in a good place mentally to face the challenges of the next week as we enter Monday tomorrow. If you have any questions, you can leave them in the chat box. If you'd like to ask any other questions or have any other comments, please do. If you'd like to raise your hand, sure, we can take them now. If not, feel free to leave. Of course, this recording will be put up on a link that everyone will have access to later. So thank you very much for joining. Your host, Michael Lamb, and I hope everybody enjoyed today. Thank you.
Thanks, Mike.
Thank you so
Thank you,
much.
Barry.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you to all the
Good
presenters.
day.
Everybody.
To everyone.
Bye.
Take care.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.